Max, you know why I'm not going to disappoint you? Because I'm not swagoo. Marcus Spears. I'm not going to sit up there and look at the national audience and say, I'm glad you asked. No, I'm going to ask you why. That's what I'm going to do. My top 5 teams in the NFL after week 2. Let's get it. Give me my list at number 5. The Rams. Why? Because Aaron Donald is still a monster. That's why. Because he compromises every offense, every offensive scheme that he goes up against. That's why. Because he scares the living hell out of quarterbacks. Carson Wentz is the latest victim in that regard. That's why. And oh, by the way, Max, Molly, don't know if y'all noticed, but that dude Jared Goff has been balling for over the first 2 weeks. He's looking pretty good. Looking like the quarterback that took him to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Let's give the Rams props where it's due. They're 2-0 in the NFC West, and they're letting you know last year was an aberration. We're coming back. Give me number 4 on the list, please. Give it to me. The Packers. Why? Because of Aaron Rodgers. That's why. Completing better than 66% of his passes. 6 touchdowns, not a single interception, dropping 40 in 2 consecutive weeks. The bad man that he is. I apologize, I didn't do that right. He's a bad man. That's why he's Aaron Rodgers. Got to be top 5. All right, let's go to number 3. Give it to me. The Seahawks. Russell Wilson. That's why. Notice I answered my question without asking. Because Russell Wilson is completing 82% of his passes. That brother's got 9 touchdowns. Just 1 interception on the season. You see the numbers that he's putting up. You see in their perfection that he's executing. Oh, by the way, let's go back to week 1 when he completed 31 of 35 passes. Although that was against those sorry, pathetic Atlanta Falcons who just blew that game against the Dallas Cowboys. Dan Quinn did used to coach as a defensive coordinator in Seattle. You would think somebody that's watching Russell Wilson in practice for years would know how to defend him better. Didn't work. Tells you something about Russell Wilson. Might tell you something about Dan Quinn, but that's a story for another day. Give it to me. Number 2 on the list. Here's it. Oh, yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning Super Bowl champions. Why do I have them at number 2 instead of number 1? Because did you see the way they struggled against the Los Angeles Chargers? Did you see the way that offense looked? By the way, couldn't do anything in the first half. Only scored 14 in the second half. Suddenly, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and those boys looked a little bit human there, I say. Should put us on notice about the Chargers and how they might be coming. But for the moment, we'll say, excuse me, Chiefs, you don't look that invincible. You're an elite team. You're the reigning champions. But are you the number 1 team? Hell no. And here's the reason why. Give it to me. Bam! The Baltimore Ravens. Why? Because of Lamar Jackson.
For the second consecutive week, I can't really argue with the list. You got the 5 teams right. I think you even probably got the order right, although it's close because the Packers have 2 divisional wins. And Rodgers has looked incredible again. One thing I'll say is this, and they're going to play each other, so we'll find out. I understand why you put the Ravens over the Chiefs so far this season. Even though if we think Justin Herbert's good, then we got to give the Chargers some credit because if you have a real quarterback with that defense, you got something. Still, Mahomes won. This is the kind of dude I am when it comes to the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. If that dude's undefeated, I'm not putting anyone over them. I know the defense and the run defense look like it regressed so far this year. That's true. But if Patrick Mahomes is fully squad up, he's my number 1. His team is my number 1. But, again, they'll decide it on the field coming up.
Marcus, what do you think? He missed anyone or the orders messed up?
Excuse me, are we making a list based on what your preconceived notions are? Or are we making a list on what we just watched the first 2 weeks? Because how in the
first 2
hell
weeks.
are you going to have
the first 2 weeks
behind
that's
the Chiefs?
Answer.
Okay, so the Seahawks aren't the better team before the Chiefs in the first 2 weeks based on what you've been watching?
That's a good point. I can sit up there and understand that point. I was more focused on the Ravens being ahead of the Chiefs than Seattle.
Seahawks beat a Falcons team that collapsed the next week.
And then Stephen A. Max gonna sit up here and say, until Patrick Mahomes lose, I'm gonna keep him 1. We ain't basing it off them. We talking about who have we seen to be the best teams in the NFL the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The Falcons should have beat the Cowboys. That's number 1 to that point, Max. And second of all, did we not just see Russell Wilson go beat a Bill Belichick defense that ain't gave up 5 passing touchdowns since forever?
And Bobby Wagner and that defense made the goal line stand. You can make a hell of a case for Russell Wilson and Seattle.
Brother.
Here's the problem with you
y'all
saying, oh, we're
tripping.
doing it, we're basing it right now. You can't count the Chiefs. Why? Because they had to come back on the Chargers? Excuse me, they just won the Super Bowl coming back on 3 consecutive teams down double digits. Won the Super Bowl, and they picked up where they left off. What makes you think that's not...
2 weeks of the season.
Uh-huh.
Who
Right.
looks better the first 2 weeks of the season?
May I
Who do you
interject here?
think is
Who
the
looks
best?
better, Max?
May I interject here? May I interject here? It's a rare moment that I do this. But I'm going to concede that Marcus Spears is absolutely correct. I'm going to concede
My man.
that, excuse me, okay, because I'm a man. I'm a man. This is what you do. Here's the deal. I'm looking at the Chiefs, and I'm automatically focusing on dropping them a spot because they clearly didn't look like the better team. So I put the Ravens above them, not really thinking that they deserve to drop 2 spots to the Ravens and Seattle being above them. The only argument that I can get, and I'll give this to Max, is that, again, they did beat the Falcons in week 1, who might be the dumbest team in the modern era at this particular moment in time. So because of it, that might be, I don't know how much credit. I could argue for my point to leave the list as is, but I must concede that Swagoo's argument gives me cause to pause. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.